All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about cancer, but maybe not in the way you're used to. We're going to peel back the layers and look at the secret logic, the hidden rules that turn a normal, everyday cell into something rogue.
I mean, think about it. Cancer seems like this chaotic mess, right? 1,000 different diseases attacking every part of the body. It's just overwhelming. But what if I told you that beneath all that chaos, most cancers are actually reading from the same playbook, following the same set of rules?
Well, it turns out that's exactly what scientists have discovered. This isn't just random bad luck or pure chaos. There is a method to this madness, a hidden logic. And understanding that logic, well, that changes everything.
This whole idea is called the Hallmarks of Cancer. It's a framework put together by two brilliant researchers, Douglas Hanahan and Robert Weinberg. And what they did was lay out the specific skills a cell has to learn to become a tumor. It's literally the instruction manual for how a good cell goes bad.
Okay, so let's crack open this playbook. We're going to start with the 6 original core rules that a cell has to master to break away from the pack and go malignant.
All right, rule number 1. You have to learn to grow and never, ever stop. Think of a normal cell like a polite driver. It waits for the green light, a specific signal, before it hits the gas. A cancer cell? Forget that. It hotwires the engine so the gas pedal is always floored. And just to make sure, it also cuts the brake lines, ignoring all the signals that are screaming, hey, stop.
Okay, next up, rule 2, become immortal. You know, normal cells are programmed to die if something goes wrong. It's a safety feature called apoptosis. They also have a built-in retirement plan. See, the tips of our chromosomes, called telomeres, get shorter every time a cell divides. Eventually, they get too short and the cell just stops. Well, cancer cells figure out how to do 2 things. They disable that self-destruct switch, and they learn how to rebuild their telomeres over and over again. So they just keep going, forever.
And for the third big rule, a tumor has to build an empire. First, it needs supplies, so it tricks the body into building brand new blood vessels directly to it. That's called angiogenesis. It's like building its own private highway for fuel. Then, it makes its most dangerous move. It learns to break out of its neighborhood, invade nearby tissues, and use those highways to travel all over the body. That's metastasis. And that's when things get really serious.
So you're probably wondering, how on earth does a single cell learn all these tricks? It doesn't just wake up one day as a supervillain. It needs a training program, a way to speed up its own twisted evolution. And it gets that speed boost from something that researchers call enabling characteristics. Now, these aren't rules in the playbook themselves. Think of them more like cheat codes. They're the conditions that let the cell learn all the other rules way, way faster. The first cheat code is basically to break its own spell checker. Its DNA becomes super unstable, so it starts making mistakes, mutations like crazy. Most of these are useless, but if you roll the dice enough times, eventually you'll get a lucky roll, a mutation that unlocks one of those hallmark powers. The second cheat is inflammation. The tumor actually creates a chronically inflamed environment, which sounds bad for it, but it's not. It co-opts the whole process, turning it into a 24/7 supply of growth factors and other things that help it thrive.
But here's the thing. The story doesn't end there. Science keeps moving, and in the last decade or so, we've basically added an expansion pack to this playbook. Researchers have identified 2 more emerging hallmarks. These are the advanced tactics.
First, they totally rewire their energy system. They become absolute sugar junkies, burning through glucose at an incredible rate. It's not very efficient, but it's fast, and it gives them all the raw materials they need to keep building new cells. And the second trick is maybe the most clever one. They learn to become invisible to our own immune system. They develop a cloaking device, or they send out signals that basically tell our body's defenders, nothing to see here, move along.
But here's a really crucial point. A cancer cell isn't a lone wolf. It can't pull this off by itself. To really succeed, it has to become a master manipulator. It has to corrupt its entire neighborhood.
And this is where we see that a tumor isn't just a lump of bad cells. No, it's a whole complex ecosystem. It's a society built by the cancer cell that actively recruits and brainwashes normal cells, turning them into accomplices. This whole setup is called the tumor microenvironment. The cancer cell is like a mob boss. It sends out messages, recruits local normal cells, and strong-arms them into working for it. These hijacked cells then build scaffolding, deliver food, and even act as bodyguards, protecting the tumor from our immune system. They create the perfect little evil lair.
Okay, so this is all fascinating, but here's why it really matters. This whole playbook concept, it completely changes how we fight back. Because if we know the rules of the game, we can start designing plays to counter every single one of cancer's strategies.
This framework isn't just an explanation, it's a battle plan. For a long time, treatments like chemotherapy were kind of like a carpet bomb. They just killed any cell that was dividing quickly, good or bad. But now, we can be snipers. We can develop drugs that specifically target these hallmarks, these unique abilities that the cancer cells rely on.
And here's the beauty of it. Every single one of these hallmarks, every special power the cancer cell acquires, is also a weakness. It's a dependency. So if a cancer is hooked on those never-stop-growing signals, we have drugs to block them. If it's building those supply line blood vessels, we have drugs that stop the construction crew. And if it's hiding from the immune system, we have amazing therapies that basically rip off its invisibility cloak and let our own body's defenses see it and attack it.
So, by seeing cancer not just as random chaos, but as a system that follows a predictable playbook, we've changed the entire game. We've taken it from being this terrifying, unsolvable mystery and turned it into a complex, sure, but ultimately logical problem. And when a problem has logic, it has solutions. This playbook gives us the targets, and that gives us a much, much smarter and more hopeful way forward.